I bought 3 twin-stick shooting roguelikes with deck-building elements all at the same time, and they are all budget games, but one stood out far and above the other two, and it was Brotato. Brotato is that meld of genres altogether, but it's got such an endlessly creative way of stacking up either your options and choices as you play through the game at the end of each wave when you visit the shop, or it could be just your starting Brotato stats, because each one has its own personality and weird and wonderful traits to overcome. And it means that you constantly tackle this bite-sized game, which is designed to have 30-minute runs no more, in different ways every time that you play it. So, Brotato, first and foremost, has tons of accessibility options. If you like the sound of this but aren't a twin-stick shooter, don't worry, because you can turn auto-shoot and auto-aim on, and it will just be about running around trying to avoid all of the enemies, which is quite cool. The other way how you can tweak some of this is through not only the danger settings. Once you complete like one level of danger, you can unlock future ones. But there's some global settings that you can change too, which make sure that Brotato can kind of slow down and be more accessible to more people, which is great. The real crux in here, though, is not necessarily the twin-stick shooting, and because it's so long as you do twin-stick shooting okay enough and you've got responsive controls and movement, which this game absolutely has, twin-stick shooting is generally quite good fun to have. There's a variety of different enemies, and they keep spawning over these 20-wave runs that you get, and each wave lasts between 15 to 90 seconds. What you'll be doing is shooting down enemies and collecting what they've left behind for XP. But the beauty of this is that at the end of each wave, not only are you upgrading your own character, but you're then going to a shop with a collection of different things to unlock. But it's the sheer scale of each item, weapon, and stat that you can upgrade, which is where Brotato's real genius lies. So you can upgrade your max HP. There's HP regeneration that you can have just by trying to run around and survive without being hit. You can also steal a percentage of life from other enemies as they die, and that's really crucial in some of the later stages of the waves of the game if you're playing in that way. You can increase your percentage of damage. Melee and rage damage have their own attack, as does elemental, so say you can set people on fire, or enemies on fire, not people rather. So again, you can lean into that if you've got, say, like the flaming sausage weapon attached, which can chain 25% of your attacks into creating flame and burning damage. There's also your attack speed, the critical percentage chance, engineering so that you can spawn extra additional items out in the field. The range of how far you can attack can change, whether you've got armour, whether you can dodge when an enemy touches you, which is key in late levels when you don't have a dash to get away from things and you're constantly running around in a circle at the edge of the game. You've also got the your percentage of how fast you just run in general, and then there's a luck permutation, which means that sometimes you'll just be unlucky and it'll decide, nope, your dodge was terrible. Or it might spawn out some weird stuff in the shop that's not very helpful to you. The last one is around harvesting, and this is about how much XP kind of expands onto the field, but also how many trees pop up. Trees not only leave you XP collectibles, but points as well as extra crates to spawn in the field as well. So that's just your Brotato. Then when you get into the shop, you've also got the ability to carry up to 6 weapons. Some of them allow you to carry up to 12, but it's the way how you can constantly improve your weapons is quite cool too. So you'll start off with maybe one SMG at level 1. If you buy another one, you can then combine those 2 ones to make a level 2. 2 2s make a level 3. 2 3s make a level 4. And this continues on. But because you've only got a certain amount of slots, you're kind of like, right, I'll only have 4 or 5 weapons so that I've got the ability to buy lower if it spawns up on the shop and then combine them together. Sometimes you might just see a really rare, decent thing pop up in the shop, and then you can be like, right, I'll just buy that outright. So long as you've got enough of your kind of coins XP currency to make the purchase. You can also, in amongst all of these different weapons, pick up tons of items as well, and they all have positives and they all have negatives. And it's around designing a character that is working for the run that you're going for. And some of this is around like the base stats of the Brotato that you've gone for. So say if you've gone for one that's got like extremely unlucky, but it's like the brawler one, it's all around melee combat and it doesn't do anything with ranged, and indeed it won't let you attach ranged weapons at all. So there's no point leaning into boosting up your ranged damage and ranged attack. Just go full on with the melee, and you can afford to have like real negative options for the ranged attack if you're leaning into that. Similarly, if you're going for all ranged and no melee, then it doesn't really matter about the melee attacks because you're going nuts for ranged. So guns, explosions, rocket launchers, all of that kind of stuff all piles in together. But the shop needs to play ball. And so sometimes the shop doesn't play ball and you're constantly re-rolling, spending all of your hard-earned cash to keep going. But it's risk versus reward. Do you re-roll and see whether or not you can get something juicy again? Or do you purchase an item that allows a free re-roll, or that reduces just the general expenditure that you do in a shop? Or do you invest in turrets that go out onto the field because they're easy, cheap weapons that just do small bits of damage? Do you want to chain up stuff that means that it's got piercing damage, but you're going to have slower fire rate? All of that kind of stuff. It just constantly plays into this game. And it's so rare for me to be like, ooh, there's so many different ways to play. And it's all designed by like your initial Brotato stats. More Brotatos become unlocked the more you play, so the more things you collect, the more trees you kill, the more enemies you kill, the more damage you make, the more HP you kind of spend. And then once you start completing runs by getting past that level 20, it then unlocks additional Brotatos with different stats for you to muck about on too. You've also got the ability to level up the danger level, which basically means that things become much faster, harder, difficult to deal with. So you've got a variety of different permutations to play with. All of this for £3.99. I couldn't ask for something that is this budget and fantastic. And yeah, it gets 2 glorious thumbs up from me. It's still in early access. And so the idea is that at the moment you've got these 20 wave runs, 150 items, 40 different weapons, 5 different difficulty levels. And the idea is just that there's going to be modding support, endless game modes or something like that once the game is fully formed. But the actual base game itself here with its normal mode is complete and ready to go, and you should dive in right now because it's superb. Brotato, nifty, thumbs up from me. Written review on Higher Plane Games. Any comments or questions, leave them down below. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane-network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.